There are rising concerns inside defence about a mining licence granted to a Chinese-linked company on a remote West Australian island close to a military training area. Authorities granted the company a licence to operate an abandoned mining facility on COCKATOO Island in WA's Kimberley region, despite a number of company directors residing in Hong Kong and mainland China. For more on this important story, I'm joined from Canberra by the Director of Defence, Strategy and Security, the Australian Strategic Policy Institute, Michael Shoebridge. Michael, thank you for your time. Let's put this into a bit of perspective for viewers at home. Cockatoo Island is right up there on the Kimberley coast, Kimberley region of WA, 2,000 kilometres from Perth. But crucially, it's right next to Yampi Sound Defence Training Area, which of course is used by our special forces as well as surveillance units. It's also very close to the strategically important gas fields of the North West Shelf. Now, this is a real concern, isn't it?
Yes, Peter, it is for both those reasons. And it's also a bit of an own goal because really that training area you mentioned, Yampi training area, it's underused by Defence at the moment. And having that facility that's on Cockatoo Island attached to this bankrupt iron ore mine, it's got an airstrip. So a more imaginative thing to do would be to start making more use of the airstrip and the training facility by Defence with our international partners. That area is really close to our Northwest Shelf gas reserves and the multi-billion-dollar export industry around that. So having more defence capability able to train and operate around there makes a whole lot of sense.
We know that this licence was granted after it was looked at by the Foreign Investment Review Board, FIRB. It's a federal government body for those that are not aware. They look at a range of things when foreign interests are wanting to buy or lease Australian property, including, we're told, security interests. It's a 12-year lease. And of course, we know that FIRB is chaired by a former ASIO and ACES chief, David Irvine. Enormous respect for David Irvine. I would hope that these things are carefully looked at, but do we need another look?
I think we do, because you've got to think maybe we caught the last wave with this FIRB decision-making. Now seems almost perfectly the wrong time to be awarding a lease to a company with any connections into Hong Kong, let alone mainland China, around iron ore. Just as Beijing right now with their National People's Congress is snuffing out the last bit of democracy on Hong Kong and taking complete control, we decide to let a company with Hong Kong and mainland China interests start taking control of iron ore resources in Australia. Why are we giving them any market power in iron ore when we want to wield market power against them to leverage that power as they coerce us? So that doesn't make any sense. And then, as I say, getting airstrips in that remote part of Australia, it's a pretty rare thing to have. Well, there's a pretty good airstrip on that Cockatoo Island. That could be a real positive for our defence purposes. And instead, we're thinking about how we work around the Chinese being there.
Yeah, I've got to say, after all the trade hits we've faced from China in the last 10, 12 months, you've got to wonder whether the left hand's talking to the right hand in Canberra. I predict it will be a heavy focus of Parliament when it returns on Monday, but we're absent a Defence Minister, of course, and she would be the one normally taking these sorts of questions. But I suspect the FIRB ones, of course, will go to the Treasurer, and I think it will be a big issue next week. Let's go to the other issue out there, yesterday, the ongoing debate about universities. We're told the security agencies will now give the unis a list of critical technologies that need to be protected from foreign interference. Again, concerns about China's access to our intellectual capital and the use of these so-called dual technologies that have a commercial but also, importantly, a military application. Are we going to get the universities to understand, do you think, Michael, how critical it is here that they abide by the security recommendations?
Well, Peter, I hope so, but really the fact they need a list tells me that they're not really on board. You know, it's an open secret that the Chinese government talks about. They have a list of technologies and research they're really interested in for defence and national power. They're things like internet technologies, communication technologies, big data, artificial intelligence, drones, autonomous systems, quantum computing, and directed energy. Now, do our universities really need to know that we also think the Chinese government making these a priority for defence and coercive power is important? Can't they read these speeches themselves? But look, giving them a list is great. My other concern about it, though, is any list lags cutting-edge research, and it's cutting-edge research that's one of our priority concerns. So it'd be great to have the universities being a positive partner and not looking for get-out-of-jail-free cards to do this kind of research with China.
All reasons to boost their balance sheet. Michael Shoebridge, thank you for your time.
Thanks so much, Peter.